everybody and welcome back. We are here for the second week of challenges for the Bugtopia collaboration that I'm doing with Mandy from SunflowersAndDors. We've both created a Bugtopia kit. I have 25 pages which you can find in my Etsy shop and my Ko-fi shop, and Mandy has hers also 25 pages in her Etsy shop. It's currently 25% off, so go and grab it while the bargain's still on. For Etsy, it just automatically discounts, but for Ko-fi, you do have to put in a code. It's all down in the description below, so just go and check out the links if you want to go and get the full kit at the discounted rate. It is discounted for the whole of June, but obviously from the start of July, there'll be a new kit and a new discount for that one. So, as I said, the discount is only for June. Now, this is our week 2 challenge. And hopefully a really good one. It's something I've not done before, and I think Mandy said that she hasn't done it before, so it's going to be an experiment and a challenge for us as well as for you. But we are altering bottle caps, buttons, or something along those lines to add to our journals. Now, I have started my lap book. I have this old book called British Insects, which I thought would be pretty cool. It's obviously got some pictures. I know it's got birds and things around the outside as well, but I think it's part of a kind of wildlife collection of books, but this one's for British Insects. So I have just gutted the book. I really like it because it is, as you can see, really kind of worn. The insides itself, I have already gutted it, but you can see like the pages are just so worn and bubbling and everything, but they've got a lovely texture. And one thing that I really love about old books is the thickness of the paper, like the quality. This is so thick, so I will be using it a lot in my lap book. I do want to give you a little sneak peek. I have made a start, so I'm going to basically have it in 2 sections. So this section is going to have my journal in, because I was thinking the idea is that somebody would be writing notes, and then this side would have all of their kind of ephemera and samples and things like that on this side, but all the notes would be made on this side. So I'm going to have my journal over here. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to work it, whether I'm just going to have a pocket that the back cover just kind of slots into so that it opens up, or how I'm going to do that. But this side, I've kind of got the base together. I haven't done any decorating really yet. I've got an idea of what's going to go on the front here, but this kind of flips out. I've then got an expanded pocket down at the back, and then if I move it over again, this side, as you can see, I've got different tabs, but this basically just folds out to pages, and then I will obviously do some decorating, add some bits in here as well. And then the last one isn't a page, again it's an expandable sort of file folder pocket, so you can really get quite a lot in that back one. So that's as far as I've got. I haven't got particularly far. I've literally just used the book cover and an old hanging files just to create that. So you can see on this one I've already started decorating with the book pages from the book. I will be using more of it, and of course pages from the kit as well. But that's as far as I've got. Now, as for today's challenge, as I said, we are altering bottle caps or buttons. So I've got some of these wooden buttons. They have got a decoration on, but obviously not necessarily in keeping with the kit, so I'll be altering those. I've also got, because I was trying to think of something flat to use, I've also got these kind of like metal washers that I think I might also have a play around with. But I've just got some bottle caps that my poor husband had to, drink his beer so I could have these bottle caps. I've also pulled out a few other things. So I've got this kind of leafy trim. I've got some washi tapes that I'm going to experiment as well. I've got some like paper leaves. I've got some paper butterflies. I could only find one small charm that was of a bug, so I've got my butterfly there, and I've got some pressed flowers that I thought I might try and use as well. So I've got lots of different things. So first things first, let's share with you the freebies. Now, just a reminder that Mandy will have her own set of freebies for this week as well. They will be in her Facebook group. my freebies will be in my Facebook group, Nonstop Papercrafts, but if you are not on Facebook, I also have mine in my Ko-fi shop. They're still for free. You just put a 0 in for the amount to pay and you can download them for free. So these are the week 2 freebies. Now, although we're altering small things, I've done kind of a large design, but I'm thinking you can either use these as pages in your journal, or you can, I've got a 1-inch circle punch that I'm probably going to use. I'm just going to punch out different circles so I can use them as a base in my altered pieces. So there are 4 pages. So we've got this one, which is kind of a greeny bluish wooden background, and then you've got all the different sort of bugs and information scattered around the page. And I've got a similar one, but this time with a brown background and different elements on the page. Then I've got a slightly more colourful one. I really love this page actually. We've got lots of flowers at the bottom. We've got a beautiful fence. And then obviously different bugs and insects and things around as well. And then I've just done a collage page, which again you could use in a journal. You could use it as matting pages for your lap book if you're making a lap book. I'm probably going to use this a bit in my lap book as well. But again, great for these because I could always maybe cut out that little ladybug and stick her in there. I think some of the others might be a bit big, but we might be able to use some of them. But yeah, so they're the 4 pages. As I said, they'll be in my Facebook group and also in my Ko-fi shop if you do not use Facebook. Also, just a reminder that when you post things in the Facebook groups, if you just use the freebies, you get 1 entry into prize drawing at the end of the month per post that you make. So if you post once for each of the 3 weeks of challenges, obviously that's 3 posts, you get 3 entries. Obviously, if you post more, you'll get more entries. If you use perhaps some of the freebies, but you'll also use the paid kits that you've brought for Mandy and I, and you post whatever it is that you're making, then you will get 2 entries per post that you make into the prize drawing at the end of the month. And I normally do a prize drawing at the end of the month with 3 winners, so I'll be doing the same. But because it's a collaboration, Mandy will be doing a prize drawing in her Facebook group as well. So make sure that you're posting across both the Facebook groups. That way you've got double the chance of winning. Right, so let's get on with the challenge. So I've got some bottle tops. As I say, I've got some buttons, these wooden buttons. Now these ones are a bit thicker. These ones are a lot thinner. And I was trying to think of things that wouldn't necessarily bulk out my lap book and my journal. Now, originally, when I was thinking of this challenge, what I wanted to do is on the inside spine, have these kind of going down. And I was going to use the bottle tops. However, the bottle tops are too big. They're too wide for this space. So I can't use the bottle tops. I think the buttons potentially could be okay, but I think the washers were the best fit. The only problem I have is that I do have a slightly curved spine, so I'm either going to have to flatten the spine or perhaps just use these somewhere else. So I'm not sure. I'm just going to make a few, I think, and then I can have a play around when I start decorating my lap book as to where things are going to go. So I think I might just do a couple of each. So I'll do a couple of the buttons. Let's get rid of those. I think I'll do a couple of the washers and a couple of these, and then we'll just have a play around and see what we create. So I think I'm going to use some washi tape for the buttons because they're nice and flat, so that'll be nice and easy. And because they're obviously a little bit shinier, I mean, I could rub them down. I've got a nail file that I use for things like that, just to get rid of some of that shine, because it just makes it really kind of slippy. So just use a nail file just to kind of distress it a little bit. Yeah, you can see that kind of layer peeling off. That one's not like that one, so that one's okay. It was just that one. But yeah, it has a kind of plasticky coating on, doesn't it? So I've just rubbed that off a little bit. There we go. Right. So what I want to do then is think about what's going to go where. So like I said, I've got these paper butterflies. I mean, they could go on all sorts actually, but I really like to use some of these as well. So let's see what we've got. Oh, that's a nice blue. I like that one. Okay, so we've got a blue. I think those red ones are obviously going to be far too big. What else have we got? No, I think they're just yellows again, aren't they? So maybe we can have a go with those two. I mean, I have got a red in there. Let's try and pick that one out. I'm really sorry if you've got the glare of my ring light. Let's have a look at that one. Oops, 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 oh no. Oh, is that supposed to be that way? I think it's supposed to be that way. Is that red or is that that way? I actually think it looks quite nice that way because you've got kind of got oranges and that beaded part. I have just snapped off a couple of the petals. Whoopsie. We'll just move those to the side. Pretend that didn't happen. Right, okay, so let's see what we're going to do. So I think I'm going to start with, what am I going to start with? I'll start with one of these, I think. I'm going to use some washi tape to begin with. Now I quite like this one because this one is an insect one. So this will be quite good. Actually, I'm going to start this. And I'm going to try and get those two bugs in. Now I do really like that beetle, so I'm going to try and line it up so I can still snip off that beetle. I've got rid of some of his horn, but I'm going to save that because I can use that somewhere else. I'm just going to stick that back on there for now. Right, and now that I've done that, I am going to cut around the shape of the flower button. Now, I am no good at fussy cutting. You can absolutely do this with scissors. I'm no good at fussy cutting. So I've seen a couple of people use this tool. And I've been looking for it for ages, but I've never really known what it was called. And then I found it quite recently, I think about maybe a month ago, it might be slightly longer. I found it on Amazon and I thought, oh my goodness, that's it, that's the tool. So I bought it. It wasn't terribly expensive, but I must say this is the easiest craft knife that I have ever used. It is so simple, and I think because you kind of hold it as if you're writing, it just makes cutting so simple. It does not feel like a chore at all. Which is obviously really good, and it cuts so well. As you can see, it just follows that shape really nicely. So I'm just pressing down the washi tape. Put that away before I end up hurting myself. Let's get some ink. And obviously these you can embellish as much or as little as you like. So I think I might keep that one like that for now. We'll see if we change it in a minute. What else have we got? So I want to use one of these. Let's see. I like that yellow one. I've got to see what it will fit into. Let me just grab some tweezers actually. Because I don't want the same issue that I had a moment ago where I'm ending up pulling off half the petals. Right, does that fit in there? It does. Right, okay, so I think we're going to pop it in there. Let's take that off a minute. Okay, so that's going to go in one of these. Right, I do want to obviously colour or do something to the bottom of this. So I'm going to start off by just trying to ink inside, just to give it a bit more of a worn look. And I think you might actually need to break out some paints, maybe. Right, okay, so I've just gathered some different bits. So I'm going to use some of the 3D crystal lacquer. So I'm going to use some of that. I've got some perfect medium and this perfect pearls from Ranger, green patina. I've also got some rubber buff because I think I might add some of that as well. So let's have a go at this. I think I'm going to need a dabber, so I'm just going to get a spare one. Not sure if this is how it's supposed to look, but I'm going to add some of it anyway in the bottom of here. Now apparently this is obviously just to use to make it stick, a bit like embossing powders. This is just the kind of the sticky stuff. Then you put this on, and then you use water to kind of set it. So you just have a little mist of water. So I'm just going to add this first, all on the inside. Really make sure that it's all sticky. Get rid of that. Right, then I'm going to add some of this. Now this is still quite a new set. I've not really used this, so we'll see how it actually looks when it's all inside. But I think it's supposed to work very similar to like an embossing powder, so I just want it to look a bit greenier. It's just so it's not obviously the white bottle that we can see. Now I'm trying not to smooth it out too much. I do want it a little bit sort of textured, so I'm not worried about smoothing out the green. Okay, then it's about just adding a mist of water. So I'm just going to squirt this off to the side just so I don't squirt everything here. Right, so I've just given that a squirt with water. So I'm going to put that to the side. That is going to set. And then I think I'll have my flower in there. So I'm just going to move that to the side as well. Right, moving on to the next one. I think for this one, I'm probably going to add some rub and buff around the bottom. I think I'm going to use my leaf and have my butterfly set in there as well. So let's do that. So we're going to do rub and buff first. So again, I'm going to use a finger dabber. As you can see, I've already used this one before. So you only need a teeny tiny piece of this stuff, but it is super, super stinky. It really does smell. But I'm just going to kind of dab that around. Again, just trying to spread it around the edges. Now, obviously, if you do not have bottle caps, then you can do buttons. You can create your own faux buttons if you like, or your own faux bottle caps. If you've got little metal pieces, as I said, I'm going to use washers as well, just to kind of experiment and do something a little bit different. Okay, so we've got that one. I actually quite like the rub and buff. And it dries quite quickly, which is quite nice. Now, I'm actually going to use the rub and buff on one of these as well. So, this is a spare bit of cardboard that I had from a different project. So I'm just going to use a bit of that. I'm just going to put a little bit on there. Use my tweezers just to hold it in place. And I'm just going to dab around here. Again, the nice thing about the rub and buff is you can make it look quite textured. There we go. Right, so I'm going to again let that one dry. That can go over there. Right, so we've got those drying. What does that leave us with? So we've still got this one which we could do something with. So I said I wanted, I think those three are going to go in there. This one, let's have a think, what else could we have? So I might use some leaves up that one. That leaves me with this one here. Although, like I said, it is quite thick. I don't know if I want it quite that thick. So I think I'm just going to add to this one, and I might use one of these. So these are just little, they are on a little foam, they're little foam butterflies. I think I might just add that on there. Now I did put a brown ink around it. I'm thinking whether I want to do a green. Okay, I've got this, which is a hint of pesto, which is a lovely dark green. So I might use this to just go around the edge a little bit. And maybe in the middle a bit as well. Whoops. Just to kind of help hide those stripes that were coming through from the original design. And just because we seem to be going all at it with the rub and buff, I'm going to use whatever's kind of left on here to just come in at the edge as well. Okay, like so. Right, which one shall we do first? How's that looking? Right, I think I'm just going to get my heat gun, give everything a little bit of a blast. I'm going to have to move a couple of bits, aren't I? Because I don't want these all getting blown about, so I'm actually going to put that over the top. Oh, let's move that petal so things don't start flying around. I'm going to quickly use my heat gun. I will kind of skip this bit for you because I'm just going to be very quick. So I'll be back. Right, okay, so I've given them each a little bit of a dry. So let's have this one going first. So I just need to add a teensy tiny piece of glue. It has got a little foam dot, but you know, they don't always stick, and it has been in my stash for such a long time. Even though the foam dot does feel quite sticky still, it has been in my stash for a while. So I'm just going to pop a teeny blob of glue on that foam. I'm going to pop him on there. Like so. Right, here's the first one done. Right, what else have we got then? So, oh, I've still got that one I need to cover. We'll do that one in a second. Right, with these two, so I think the gold was with the flower, wasn't it? Oh, where's my tweezers? I can't pick these things up. So the gold was the flower. Okay, so I think I'm going to first of all just pop a bit of glue. In the middle, just to stop the flower from moving about. Okay, so there's the middle. Awesome. Right, I'm going to let that dry for just a moment. And then in this one, I was thinking of the leaf maybe having this flower and the butterfly kind of all sitting in there, something like that. So I think that's what I'll do. So again, I'm just going to add a bit of glue. And I'm just going to push down so that leaf actually folds down. I'm just going to hold it in place a minute just to let that glue kind of grab it. Now I've not actually used bottle tops in any of my journals before. This was an idea from Mandy. I have saved bottle tops. I always had that intention of doing something with them, but never actually did anything. So I was yeah, really chuffed when Mandy sort of suggested this. I thought, oh, yep, I've got stuff for that. That's brilliant. I'm going to put that flower in again. I'm just going to hold it down for a second, let the glue grab. Right, now before I put the butterfly charm in, I'm going to add some glossy accents. I'm going to do some glossy accents on this one as well, just because I want it to kind of hold the dried flowers. So I'm going to use this then. I haven't used this in absolutely ages. I can't even tell if it's clogged. I think it might be. Where's my pin? Yeah, it's got a bit of a blockage. So let's get rid of that. There we go. Hopefully that's a bit better. There we go. So this does dry clear, so I know it's like looking a little bit white at the moment. I'm just going to spin it round so that it kind of goes everywhere I need it to. I'm just going to give it a tap. Oops, tripping it on my desk. Right, and then I'm going to do the same on this one. So I'm going to add some glossy accents around the flower. I'm not really fussed about the leaf because it's just a paper leaf, but I just want it around the flower. Like so. And then I can pop my butterfly in there, and then the glossy accents will act as a glue as well. So I'm going to let those dry to the side. There's that one done. Right, so let's finish off this one. What we're going to do for this one. So still got this beautiful blue flower. Would that look nice on there, do we think? Yeah, do you know, I think it would. But instead of glossy accents, I've got a matte medium. I might use a matte medium to pop it on. So just grabbing a different brush. I think I've probably put far too much on my brush. I'm just going to spread it around, pop the flower on. Oops, and then put a layer over the top. And again, it's just to protect the dried flower, just to seal it in. Yeah, I really like that one. Okay. Right, I will obviously wash all my brushes and things afterwards. So So we've got 3 done. Right, so that means I've got 1 more to go. What to do with this one? So this one, I might use some of this. And, right, what do I want to do with it? I don't think I want to use any more dried flowers. Maybe I won't use it. How's this looking? Right, some of the petals are just curling up, so I'm just going to push those back down. I think there's probably way too much glossy accents on there, so I'm just going to scoop some off. I did go a little bit overboard. That's a bit better. I haven't used it in such a long time, and I forget that little goes very far with glossy accents. Right, so I've just wiped some of that off. I'm going to move that before I start getting everything over there. And obviously until this is dry, you're not really going to see the full effect of it. I'm going to put some glossy accents just up the sides, just to kind of really seal all of that in. So let's have a look at what we've got. So the challenge was to alter either buttons or a bottle cap. If you don't have bottle caps, obviously go for your buttons. You can make your own buttons if you like. So I started with these kind of cardboard buttons that I have, and I've used some washi tape. I then inked around. First of all, I did it with a brown, didn't I? But then I went back and did green, and then I've put some of the gold rub and buff around it, and then this cute little paper butterfly. So that's that one. This one, we've got a paper leaf, one of the dried flowers, a little bit of glossy accents just to kind of seal in that dried flower, and then we've got that beautiful butterfly charm in there as well. This one will hopefully look a little bit better once it's dry, but we've got our gorgeous yellow flower in there, sealed with glossy accents, but I have obviously taken some out because I think I just went a little bit overboard. And this one, instead of using glossy accents, I just used a matte medium just to seal that in. So we've got the gold rub and buff on the base, and then the flower there. Now the nice thing about these rings is if I choose to use anything with magnets, I can glue this and then the magnet will stick to this as well. So that's another really good perk for it. So yeah, I'm really pleased with these. I love how they've turned out. I hope that you certainly give these a go. Like I said, you can alter whatever you have available to you. So whether that is bottle caps or buttons, whatever it is that you have a play around with what you've got in your stash. I've had these dry flowers for years. I've had them for such a long time, and they've just been sitting there. So it's nice to actually get to use them, and I'm looking forward to adding these to my lap book. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Just a reminder that this is the week 2 challenge for the Bugtopia collaboration. You can find the freebies in my Facebook group and on the Ko-fi shop, and also don't forget to check out Mandy's video and Mandy's Facebook group for her freebies as well, and you can see how she's put hers together. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.